So let me ask you a question. Have you created or are you creating the best possible online course for your clients and students that will get them the result or transformation that they want? Because in 2026, that's what they care about the most. They no longer care about your online course. They care more about the result and the transformation that they will get from doing your course or program. And over the years, I've created about 50 online courses, most of which are pretty crappy, but a number of which generated over 6 figures in income. But by today's standards, many of those would probably still be seen as crappy. So what's shifted in 2026 is that we need to start really focusing on the outcome and how we can get people that result as quickly as possible. So you can take my new program that I've been working on for the last 5 months. Now, we've gone through different variations of this, and I've been working with beta people. So I had a beta launch, and then I had a founders launch, and now it's gradually starting to open up to more of the general public, should we say, more people in general. We're starting to go more evergreen. But I'm literally 5 months in, and I'm already on version 3 of the program. This is because good enough is just not enough anymore. You're competing against so many things out there, AI included, and other courses and competitors. So you have to make something that is really, really good. But the course evolves as you do. You build it with people. And in the beta launch, I built it with them and put all the lessons out. And then I realized during the founders launch that I was attracting a slightly different group of people, and the people wanted certainly something slightly different. So therefore it needed to be fine-tuned again, or things needed to be added. And then to stop it getting bloated and bigger, you want to start going through it again and fine-tuning and seeing what you could replace with templates and so on. So what people want and what you need to do to fine-tune is make sure that you are trying to remove modules where possible. You're still trying to give them the result and the transformation in the least amount of effort. So people want less modules, they want less effort in general, and they want the shortest path to get the desired result. So basically they want everything faster and easier. And this is just the nature of things. So time is of the utmost now, and they want the shortest path to get the desired result. So the enemy of us as course creators and coaches is that we need to address this shift in the market and where people are now to make sure that our programs align with that. So therefore we can create something that is going to be a 6-figure or even 7-figure program, because you might make some sales by not really embracing this shift, but we really want to be creating something that's going to be generating proper money for us as coaches and course creators. So we're trying to go up against low attention spans, thanks to short form content and AI and, money, information just being readily available. We've got to compete with those low attention spans. We're competing with very low completion rates. When you look at online courses, paid completion rates are below 15%, and free completion rates are below 10%. So generally, a huge amount of your audience are never going to complete most of your online course. So that really should get you thinking about, okay, so what do we need to do to get people the transformation? Because it's bad business if most of the people that sign up and buy your product don't get what they wanted. So we want to make sure that we're trying to find ways to improve that completion rate. That's a massive enemy that we need to try and get past. We've got competing methods. If you're a coach, you may have come across this. People are always watching different videos on YouTube and so on, and they've got these competing methodologies and new ideas that your methodology has to keep competing against and justifying to say that, yes, that will also work, but this is better for you because. So we're always having to try and make sure that we're standing apart from other methodologies and that we're competing with them. But sometimes it's very difficult to compete with new and to try and keep people focused on your program rather than getting distracted with other things. And I notice a lot of people go, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And it's getting people to focus on one strategy and seeing it to the very end, because there are multiple strategies out there normally that can get them the desired result, but they'll get to different results and they'll get there in a different way. We've then got AI overwhelm, which is a massive thing now. So yes, AI is fantastic. Yes, it can shortcut a lot of processes, but we're also dumping decisions into it, and it's also giving us huge amounts of information that is not shortcutting anymore. We're getting actual overload by the amount of information, and this is cheapening information as well, and this is part of the process that people just no longer want to go through huge amounts of courses and so on. So it's our job to remove a lot of that overwhelm and to simplify with processes. And you're also competing against different learning styles. I've noticed through all of my courses, some people go through things step by step in order, doing every single class and taking every type of action as you've laid it out in the program. And other people cherry pick and they watch the odd video that they think is relevant to them, or they only watch a video when they're actually starting to work on that particular thing. So therefore, they might have to then go back to the start and do other things because they haven't done them in order. So you've got to try and make it so that your program can try and make sure that people are still getting results, even though they all learn in different ways, no matter what you tell them. It's a bit like herding cats. So you have to compete against all of these different things. And in order to be ready for 2026, our program has to do a number of things as well. We have to compete with all of that and try and make it smaller, shorter, clearer, faster, easier. So therefore, we need a clear roadmap that is going to take people from A to B, the desired result, in exactly how to get there so that they don't get confused and overwhelmed. So we want to bring complete clarity with a roadmap. We want to be ruthless in subtracting, which is again what I'm going through now. I've started to look at my program and I've gone, okay, I've been adding things and now it's gotten a bit big again. So now I've added all these different things. I start to look at it and go, I can simplify this process. They don't actually need this step anymore. And if I get AI to do these 2 steps together, I can remove these 3 videos and I can simplify it down into 4 modules instead of 8 now. And we can have something that's simpler, faster, and slicker. And you look at it and go, actually 20% of that content is completely irrelevant to get them 80% of the results. So we want to be ruthless in what we subtract. And every time we update and add new things, we have to look at it and see, am I adding something that's really useful for them? Do they really need this, or are they just asking for it? And you could always do a workshop or something live with them that would step over that need, because people are going to be evolving all the time. And you have to ask yourself, do you want your program to be the everything program? So maybe you're teaching languages and you're starting with beginners and your YouTube channel is beginners and your community is for beginners. But as people move to intermediate, do you want to support the intermediate? Maybe it would make sense for you, but would it mean that if you were trying to make the calls work with the beginners and the intermediate, you might dilute and make the experience worse for everyone? So sometimes it's okay just to say, I'm not your intermediate person. I'm your beginner person. And I'm going to work with you. I'm going to get you this desired result into this level. And then you can move on to someone else. Or you build another separate program if you have the ability that separates the two of them. But sometimes it's better to be ruthless in subtracting so that you're not just building and building. It's getting bigger and bigger. And this is where I see communities, courses, programs start to fail and get bloated and get worse results. And then we also want to look at how can we add shortcuts, templates, AI. How can we do done for you things? How can we remove the work and the effort to make certain processes easier? AI is fantastic as a tool now, and everybody's using it. And if you're not, you're probably missing out. There are so many things, depending on what it is you teach, that AI can just make easier, faster, better. So therefore, we want to remove as much of the mundane stuff that we can actually get them started with, and things that can do, say, 80% of the work. Maybe they still need to go in and tweak things themselves. But if we can shortcut processes, then we should be doing that now, just to make things, again, faster and easier. And then I think you definitely need to add some element of coaching. You want to have some form of group coaching or support to your program where people can get direct feedback, because 10 minutes on a call can save people weeks of frustration, where a course or maybe an email support is just not going to give them that level. And people really expect that now. Most people actually prefer the calls and the support and the coaching that they get over the program. Now, you need a program that's great standalone, but really the combination of the two is where the magic happens. And it's also where people are willing to spend more money. Now, that's exactly what we do inside our free community. So if you would like to know more about group coaching and community coaching, where you've got your course, your program, and your ongoing support with them, then I will add more free training in our community, which I'll link to in the video description just below, where you can join us and learn more about that as well. So the goal here is that we want to build something in a straight line. We want a straight line from A to B. So with your program, you're not trying to create a library of information. We're not overwhelming them like in 2016, where adding hours and hours of free training and free videos was seen as valuable. Now that's just, nobody wants that. And a library of information if say your community or your classroom area is full of that type of information, and you find you've ordered it to a degree, but there's also a lot of information that maybe they don't need to know right now, then that will feel like a library. And it's just a huge amount of value dumping on them. So rather than having a library of information, we want a straight train track from A to B. The destination that they want to go to, you are a straight line to that. There's no distractions, no stop-offs on the way, and you're just taking them straight to that end destination. And you don't want people to get lost along the way. This is where your completion rates go down and people don't get the desired result. And it's our job as coaches and course creators to try and make sure that we don't lose people along the way. No man or woman gets left behind. So you want to make sure that you're picking a destination that 80% of your clients can realistically and reliably hit. So pick a goal that you can definitely teach and you can help people get that result in the easiest way possible. You're not necessarily trying to turn them into a version of you that may have taken 10 or 20 years of education to get to where you are. They just want one particular result. So pick one destination that you reckon 80% of your clients can reliably hit. And that result, you want to get them that result in the fastest, easiest, and best way possible. So the fewest steps to get them there. Again, what can you turn into a template or checklist? And what can you move to a live community training or some type of coaching aspect where maybe you say, here's the basic training, but come to a call and we'll fine tune it together and double check it together to make sure it's right. So don't move on to the next step until we do that live on a call. Rather than trying to create 10 videos just so you can answer every single question that they may have based on a variation of different needs that different people have. So the complexity of trying to create videos around that just is probably wasted and might just be better moving on to a live call of some kind. So you really want to be doing the unscalable. Yes, have them doing some stuff alone, but having a lot of the group angle and the coaching angle and say, DMs and the live calls, or maybe even occasionally jumping on a 10-minute call with them just for that extra level of hand-holding. So do the unscalable, find ways to do it, and give them the best of both so that you can guarantee more results for them in 2026. Because the more people that you get results in 2026 in the fastest way possible, the more testimonials you're going to get, and the more people are going to be wanting to sign up for your program, and therefore the more money you're going to make. So it's okay to start messy, but then you want to improve as you move forward. So continuously look at your program. And again, if you would like more help with this, then you can join our community lab, which I will link to in the video description, where we'll show you how to grow your community coaching business with YouTube in School. All right, I'll see you in the next one.